what up, world? It's your boy JAYSTAR. Finally back, man. I told y'all I wanted to give myself some time to actually go through, the slate and everything, looking at really good matchups and stuff before I just gave y'all a first, lineup, because I really want to make sure we got something good here. I didn't just want to put something together, off the back, just first looking at it and everything. So kind of went through, made some notes and things like that, how I always do before season starts and things like that. Based off of last season, I know certain teams will probably get better at certain things, that they was bad at, but most of the time, most teams don't start off that way anyways, like if they was bad at something, they kind of still bad at it, at least for the first two games. They got to get acclimated with the new systems or new players and things like that, have to grow and become better, all that type of stuff, so kind of just stuck to what was, what kind of teams gave up. And also, I also noticed too is that certain teams give up a position anyways because they kind of feel that maybe it's a position that they're willing to give up, and things like that. Because most teams might not have, a really good, what I want to say, like wide receiver 3 or something like that. If every team gives up a wide, one team gives up a wide receiver 3, I mean, they might feel like, yeah, this is cool for us. We'll give them this, because not everybody has a elite stack of, number wide receiver 3s and stuff like that. So, certain teams just stick to, what they give up every year. Like it doesn't really change, but so I'm gonna get right into this though, like I always do. Building this first winning lineup, man, for this week, man. Most people I notice like when you end up seeing who wins, I want to say the million and stuff like that, they kind of stick to like the most safest things, man. Like the most safest. This person is going to get a volume of targets or attempts and stuff like that on the run. It's kind of where they go. And then once they get those players out the way, it's kind of, whatever they're left with from there. So just looking at that for like each position, kind of going into that, like, it made me, I would say, it really made me steer away from the running quarterbacks, kind of, just because of the fact that if I'm taking a quarterback, I actually want to stack them, and it makes it harder to stack. I'll just show you, like, if I'm picking Justin Fields, it's very hard to stack somebody that's throwing only 21, 23, 25 attempts and things like that. And I'm banking on them to complete way more than 7. I'm hoping that he completes a 20 out of 25, like something like that. And that's really hard, for a quarterback to do. Just any good quarterback, period. Doesn't matter. Most quarterbacks throw that we're picking for fantasy wise. We're looking at, I'll just go to like Herbert just so you can see the difference real quick. Look at Herbert here. He's throwing 43, 37s and 42s, 51, 47, 47. Look at these attempts, man. Like, these are the type of attempts, that's possible. Even if you think, like, if he throws 40 times, if there's 4 weapons that, he keys in on or something like that, and he has a good 4 too at that now, he can at least throw each one of them 10 times. That's a lot of opportunities for, possibly 2 people to go off, 2 players that we can pick. So that's what steered me away from picking, these Russian quarterbacks here, because I know, yeah, you can hit with Odell Beckham, possibly, but Lamar is another quarterback. The only thing I will say about Lamar, what I like about Lamar is he's more efficient usually. Like if he throws a little bit more, to of course than Fields for sure. But he's more efficient. Like it's games where 4 touchdowns. He only threw 29 times here. This is crazy. This almost feels like every time he threw the ball, it was like a touchdown. But the only thing I will say is like you look at the yards, getting over 300 yards doesn't happen. Like he's not getting over 300 yards, but one game. And it's because of the attempts, man. It's just really simple. So, yeah, he gets there because of the rushing. Yeah, look at 48, 43. You know what I'm saying? Rushing in touchdowns and 100 yards. So, he gets his other 100 yards in the rushing category. But that hurts, the receiver weapons and things like that. Like trying to give, 2 stacking or something receivers with him is going to be hard because we have to wait and see, is he going to up his attempts, in passing this year? Are we going to be in the 36s to 40 range? That's what I'm looking for. And I'm not trying to tell y'all to steer away from picking these quarterbacks. It's just on me. So that made me, I'm just telling you what my thought process was. So what I was end up looking at is, like I said, Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, even a Kirk Cousins could be a decent play too. I want to say Russell. I feel like will probably be a little bit, better still, like I was saying before. Um, but we don't really know about everybody else. Stafford has just the only reason why Stafford isn't in there is just because he only has like one elite weapon. If he had two more receivers, this dude would probably be throwing 50 times to a game, but he doesn't have it, so kind of steers me away from there. I think Carr is probably a sleeper option here. I would say if only thing about Carr that kills it, like we know he'll throw, we know he'll get yards. He like I told y'all last year, he has a 2 touchdown curse, man. He just, I mean, we can go through every game. We got one game right here where he threw three, but man, what's going on? Why is it not allowing me to go? Okay, there we go. Like look how many games he's 2 touchdowns. One, two, three, two again. Like two, 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 two. Finally hits it right here, gets three. Like three right here. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, most of the games, one, two, two. Like it keeps his fantasy numbers in this 17s, 18s, all these little ranges like that. Like just because look at this 18, got a 20 here, but if I mean, it made no sense to me that he had such an elite weapon in Devontae that he was only throwing 2 touchdowns. When he even got Waller back, it was the same thing. Like, but I do feel like he has a lot more weapons here on the Saints. I do feel like, hopefully it's more 3 touchdown games, especially because his defense is so much stronger than the Raiders. He should have multiple opportunities. So I'm not sleeping on him for that. Like I said, I do feel like he could be this year, possibly first game. Tennessee gave up so many yards. Completion percent was so high against them. So I am looking at that definitely for a receiver wise. And Carr could have a huge game, like I said, because if they are getting the ball back to him, and he gets to the red zone 5 times, I don't see why he can't break that curse. So, but just the safest bet, when we talk about safest bet, is definitely going to Herbert, man. It's going to Herbert. Herbert, Trevor Lawrence. I feel like these two are the best ways to go. And since when I was going through the notes, to me it looks like though the Colts was the team that gave up more touchdowns. Two passing quarterbacks that throwing to receivers at that too, at receiver too, they giving up the most touchdowns. So I have to go with Trevor Lawrence. That's where I'm leaning with, for the first week here, y'all. So that's the quarterback. How I kind of went through that. Like I told you, try to tell you my strategy there. Now when it comes to running backs, man. It was last season, man, with running backs, we didn't really have to pay up too many times. It wasn't too many times where we had to pay up this high, So, and I'm definitely not feeling picking a rookie, running back the first week, just because not only he's a rookie running back and we don't know what to really expect, he just has so much depth behind him, with Algier and Cordell Patterson both kind of doing, one of his strengths, one is running better and then one is pass catching and things like that better. It has a little bit of agility, all that stuff. So it's like, I feel like they are going to use Bijan Robinson like crazy, like get up the field, but he might get tired, as he gets down the field and it's a red zone time, and they might switch to Algier or Cordell Patterson and they might finish the drive. And I can see us being hurt off of something like that, like he could have tons of volume and everything, but it's just that if he's not getting those touchdowns too, because they are putting in, what I want to say, man, what I'm trying to say here, my bad, y'all. Just putting in backs that aren't being used and not tired yet. They're putting in just energized, 100% ready to go and rushing those touchdowns at the end to finish the drive because, Bijan got him all the way up there. I just don't know if they're going to keep him in like the whole time. He is young. Maybe they do, but it's like a wait and see. An 8,000, like we're expecting a 36-point game then from him on the first week. And so like, yeah, I mean, it could possibly happen for sure, but is it the safest bet? Not with all the, the backups behind him. It's not like a McCaffrey situation where it doesn't really have too many backups. Eckler doesn't have a backup still. Chubb, his backup is, we don't know for sure what it is. Not the same as having Kareem Hunt, and we was kind of iffy on it. So that's a reason why you pick these three for sure. But the Bijan Robinson, I just don't know. Like, it's a lot of depth back there. Sucks that Jonathan Taylor, his contract and then wants to get traded, all that type of stuff. Sucks there for him. Derrick Henry, though, yeah, he's always a good back, but this is a very hard matchup. He's going to be very low owned, I'm sure, because everybody knows how tough it is to run on the Saints, even though that's where everybody tries to at least, make their defense break is against the run, because it's very hard to do anything against them. But So, like I said, going to be low on. It's just a contrarian play option there. Jacobs, good running back. Denver's defense is tough, and they are at home. So I kind of expect it to be a little bit hard for him there, unless he's going to be used way more in the past than what he was before. Stevenson, good back here. I don't have really no problem, taking him. I know it's a tough, tough defense though, and we still have to see how much has Mac Jones developed into just getting them to goal line situations more often than he was last season. ETN, love him, because of the fact that he's on a loaded team where I already taken his quarterback here. I expect them to get to the goal line at least 4 times a game most of the time with this loaded offense. Like, long as everybody's healthy for sure. So there's going to be at least twice I feel like he has to run it in, maybe pass catch it in too as well. Mixon, another good running back that should be on the team where they're getting to the goal line 4 times. So yeah, always good to and Cleveland I believe was pretty bad against the rush too. So, and gave up points to running back. So definitely, that could be a safe bet there to me. Kamara, don't really know what to expect yet from him. Dobbins, I hate the whole contract situation that's happening with him because I probably would be locking him in, on a team where I kind of expect them to get 4 to 5 times to the goal line. And it just will be on, is Lamar gonna steal those touchdowns sometime rushing in himself? But playing Houston, man, they literally gave up the run to every position. If you ran it in with a receiver, tight end, a running back, quarterback, it don't matter. If you run it, period, they're giving it up. Like, they're giving up rushing yards ridiculously, and then it's like they're giving up goal line touchdowns too, like crazy red zone touchdown to running. Period. Anybody who's going to run it in, they're giving it. So it sucks that we can't pick Dobbins right now because they got him as out or whatever, but because he would be a for sure bet, especially 6,600 sounds too cheap for this matchup. Madison, I don't know what to expect here from him. I do think he's going to be used a lot for sure. He doesn't really have a legit backup to me. But if he's used more in the pass catching, that's where you kind of hurt Tampa Bay. Their defense was really tough against just straight running on them. You couldn't do it. But if you pass catch and he was to get like 6, 7 targets, he could probably have a really good game because the offense is loaded here. So yeah, he's going to have multiple opportunities for sure. But then James Conner, not really feeling him. Aaron Jones, I kind of feel like he's probably the first one up out of all these running backs that I feel like can put up the numbers that these ones at the top could put up. And I feel like he's also probably in a pretty safe bet to have, a lot of touches this year too. Like, I know we have what I want to say, AJ Dillon behind him. But Chicago does give up the rush. I feel like both backs could at least get a goal line touchdown. But I definitely feel like Aaron Jones possibly gets 100 yards rushing here. I would have picked him, for this lineup, but it's not who I'm picking yet. So let's keep it going, though. But that's a really good pick. Like I said, he compares to the 8,000 running backs to me. Akers, no. Sorry, just can't do that. Najee Harris, yeah, he gets a lot of opportunities, but this is the toughest defense to run on. Kenneth Walker against the Rams, with the loaded offense Seattle has, yeah, Kenneth Walker should be another person. Is a good safe bet to pick with his speed too and everything. He can pass catch too. $6,000 might be too cheap for sure. Like, yes, he probably is going to be a really good option first week, but it's not who I'm taking here. So let's keep it going here, man. We got Pierce. I always like Pierce. Just this matchup might be too much. Javonte Williams. What I want to say, I'm waiting to see what this questionable. Maybe when I figure this out and he's able to go for sure, I probably will be trying to pick him. But my first option here is Miles Sanders, man. I'm taking Miles Sanders. I feel like he's so motivated to showcase, his true talent. He only got to show that, I feel like one or so seasons with Philly, and now you're on a team with a rookie quarterback. He's going to get so many opportunities. Atlanta wasn't that good. They gave up like one of the most opportunities, most attempts to running backs. A lot of people ran on them a lot. They also gave up like 100 something yards a game. They kind of slowed people down when it came to rushing touchdowns. But I feel like the motivation, behind Sanders on this first game, man, I gotta go with him, man. Gotta go. Rookie quarterback, everything sounds too right to me. Plus, he has so much motivation with the other running back on the other side. Being talked about as one of the best already, and hasn't even touched a football field, in a real game. So Yeah, I think Miles Sanders is great. After that, I like White. I do like White because he's in a big game where they're going to be scoring a lot over here. I feel like, and it's going to cause a lot of probably pass catching to the back, and he is definitely going to be that back. He was that back for Brady, anyways, and now he's also going to get more rushing attempts. I really love him though for sure, but not picking him here for this one. Foreman, I don't really know what's going to happen there with their running back situation. I think they got Herbert too. Algie already talked about him, but my next back is Mostert. We were picking on running backs going against the Chargers, who we knew had speed and broke big runs. And that's Mostert. Of course, Jeff Wilson possibly could do it too, but Mostert has that speed, and we've seen him break big runs. So just another safe bet here because I also want to get a part of this game. This is going to be a great game. I'm gonna go, a little bit different. I don't think too many people might go this way, but I definitely feel like this is a safe bet. Miami is a run, type of team. They want to run to establish those quick, easy out passes, but once they establish that with Mostert, I think in this game, then it'll start being an air out and things like that type of game. And the Chargers will be so focused on trying to make sure they stop those speedy receivers. I mean, all across the board, Robbie Anderson included. That Mostert should have it easy to break a big one. So I really like that. Now let's get to this receivers, man. So yes, once again, we starting off at the top with Jefferson's amazing. That's a good safe bet here for sure because of the targets he gets, because of also the game plan they always have for him, especially game ones and stuff like that. It's going to be a lot of game planning for him to get the ball. Also, he catches really high percent of his his attempts and stuff like that and his targets. So I like him. He's the same as Cup though, like same thing. Like they both have that same skill set. The only thing I will say is Cup edges him out when it comes to touchdowns. Cup knows how to get open better, it seems like, in that red zone area. So I would kind of edge out with taking Cup if I was to take Cup in this lineup. But I'm let me save that for a second though. We got Tyreek Hill. We got Tyreek Hill. I like Tyreek Hill. Only thing I had a trouble with Tyreek Hill last season is like if he wasn't getting the 100-yard games, he wasn't really scoring a lot of touchdowns. That was where they kind of struggled at, and they kind of went to Waddle, sometimes Gesicki, everybody over Tyreek Hill once they got to the red zone. So 8,200. I don't know. I might wait. Later down the season, maybe he drops a little bit in the 7,000 range, and I think he'll probably be more worth it. 8,200 is kind of hard when I can't guarantee that you're probably going to score and for sure get 100 yards. Like it's the Chargers defense, with JC Jackson and things like that. They're probably going to scheme up a lot of doubling on Hill to try to slow him down, but this will be a fast pace and I think a lot of scoring in this game. But like I said, it just might be a little bit more resistance here. So my edge towards not taking him right here, just in this first lineup at least. Chase, I do like him. I feel like he's going to have a big game plan on par with like a Jefferson and Cup. He also is a touchdown. He can get touchdowns really high. So I definitely do think he's a good play. He is going to get some elite cornerbacks here with Denzel Ward. I believe they have 1-2 on the other side of him too as well. So a lot of resistance. Also, this is a rivalry. So kind of will edge a little bit not taking him on this lineup at least. I have Devontae Adams here, man. I definitely feel like the way he was killing his division, this might be too cheap. This actually might be too cheap for Devontae Adams. He might just erupt and go off against Denver again, like we saw him do it 2 times. He takes on that Patrick Surtain challenge personally, and he kills him every time. But he does have a different quarterback, and I really kind of don't know if I can see him catching them deep bombs from a Garoppolo. Like I know Garoppolo kind of dumps and stuff like that a lot. So they're going to have to move Devontae into the slot more, which is where Jacoby Myers is going to be at most of the time. So kind of, I don't know for sure what I'm expecting from that. A.J. Brown, great receiver and everything, but the only thing I hate about the A.J. Brown is last year, first of all, he's on the running quarterback type of, scheme here, what I talked about. So it's going to be hard to make sure you get it right when it's the A.J. Brown game because the attempts is low. So that kind of is one of the reasons why I'm probably not taking A.J. Brown. Also, we know New England's scheme is going to probably be to double him and make sure they take him out the game and make them go somewhere else. And they do that already very well here. They go to Devontae Smith the same amount of times they go to A.J. So maybe Devontae Smith is a better pick. Keenan Allen on a loaded team, man, but he is on a really good team here. And it's a game that I do want to be a part of. But I think I'm gonna go somewhere else here because 7,300 is really high. It'll be I think we're expecting like a 28 to round range, points from him. I just don't know for sure if I'm gonna get that in the first game. I think last season he was the receiver that got hurt too mid game for the first game, so I think I'll wait and see because I don't want him to hurt me like that, like he did last season. Then we got Metcalf. I think it's gonna be a breakout season for Metcalf. I think this is a good matchup for him to try to do that right off the back with no Jalen Ramsey anymore for the Rams. This could be a huge game. It's just on, are we going to see 12 targets a game to 11 targets a game for Metcalf with them having so many weapons now with JSN, lock it outside on the, outside on the other end of him. I don't know yet for sure if we're going to see that all the time because it might be games where, he's being doubled the whole time and Lock is one-on-one now on the outside with JSN in the middle, man. Those two might receive better games. So don't really know, but I do know he is targeted highly in the red zone. So if you're expecting a lot of scores from Seattle, yeah, possibly Metcalf does get it. Like I say, he is going to have a breakout season this year because there won't be so many doubles. But I think off the back, he probably will start off being double. So there will be some resistance, especially playing a rivalry and everything there. DeAndre Hopkins, I just don't know what to expect here. I know New Orleans is a tough defense, but he did do good last season against them, and he did have a lot of targets. So if we're expecting him to start off with like 14 to 13 targets, then possibly he does still light up, New Orleans here. Higgins, I just kind of feel like it probably will lean more Chase first. But like I said, if they are giving Chase a hard time, then it's going to be a Higgins game instead. Lockett probably in for a big game, possibly here. Lining outside, but it's kind of wait and see a little bit for me because we didn't really see him line outside a lot, in the other season. He's usually straight in the slot. So kind of wait and see there. And he's a small receiver too, so it's going to be his speed and his route running to beat those taller cornerbacks and things like that out wide. Let's see. Judy, he's a good play. I don't really mind you taking Judy. I do feel like the number one receiver is a lot cheaper, and I kind of would go that route instead. But he does play in a slot where you tend to get more one-on-one matchups. So if his targets can go up, though, because last season, Russell targeted Sutton way more when he was healthy. But Judy, started getting the targets up later, and I felt like they should have been equally being able to get 8 to 9 targets or something like that a game each. Judy is too good a receiver to only be receiving like 5 targets in a game. Ridley, man, Ridley, come on now. Like, this is going to be, I think a lot of people going to be on him. Hopefully he does come through. Because I plan on having him in a lot of lineups too as well. It's a really good matchup. I feel like with no Gilmore here anymore. Yeah, but it's so many weapons here too as well, and I expect them to be spreading out the ball across the field here. So let me see. Olave, great. This is my guy right here, man. Just because of the fact he used to get so many deep throws, just last season. I know he has a different quarterback, but he has a quarterback that likes to throw deeper throws too, to his receivers. If his targets are still going to be like in the 10s or something range, and they still can get Michael Thomas, I think goal line, things like that, or, short distance third down plays, but them deep throws against a team that gave up one of the highest completion rates, percentage rates and things like that, also gave up the most yards to receivers. I gotta go with Olave, man. I just feel like that's a safe bet for at least 100-yard game. Possibly he breaks one and it's an actual touchdown. Tennessee did give teams a hard time once you got to the red zone on them to score. But I feel like maybe one of those, 50, 60-yard bombs is a scoring touchdown for Olave. And I feel like, so first, safe bet here for me. And then let's go. We keep it going here, man. We got McLaurin against Arizona. I don't know what to expect with his quarterback yet. Mike Evans, it's a great matchup for him, man. Minnesota, I think their defense is going to take a huge back step this year. But it's just this first game with Baker. I don't know what to expect from Baker yet. I'm hearing good things, though, from him and Mike Evans having a connection, though, at least. So I will be taking some shots there for sure. Pittman, I feel like this could be a really good run back against a Trevor Lawrence stack. But I'm not going to take it in this lineup. I'm kind of waiting to see how good the Anthony Richardson is, since I still have like a whole month to watch and see how their chemistry is looking. DJ Moore, I do like what I'm already hearing about Chicago. And the chemistry that him and Fields is already putting up. Like, so I really like that. I think he's gonna be a good play. Just not for this lineup here. Watson. Man, he's looking good in the training camp so far from what I'm seeing with my Packers and things like that. Want to see more of the chemistry though between him and Love though, but I'm seeing a lot of him going against Jair, and I feel like iron sharpens iron. He's going to get a lot better, man, just because of that matchup and growing throughout this next month and things like that. So definitely, I feel like he will be a good play too as well. I want to put that on there too. Godwin, same situation as Evans, man. Quarterback, don't know yet. Cooper, I do think he probably has a good game here. 5,800. He probably is loaded with Deshaun Watson. Probably is throwing him 10 targets easily. He possibly could be on the Cooper Cup level serious with Deshaun Watson coming out the gun here, man. Rivalry matchup. Probably going to be a really good game, man, with Deshaun Watson starting the season and everything, man. We got to see how they look in preseason, though, when they play him. So we'll wait and see with that. Mike Williams, though, y'all. Come on now. Tossing him in there, man. Tossing him in there, man. I just feel like this is a good matchup, man. Like I said, I gotta be a part of this game. I love how I got a run back here, 1v1 there, at least starting there. I felt really good about that. Right after that, Christian Kirk, man. I had to go with Christian Kirk. Like I said, Coast is giving up touchdowns to receivers. Kirk was one of the highest, what I want to say, percent, end zone targeted receiver. Also, he came through with actually scoring the most for this team, in the touchdown situation thing. He gets open down there, man. I feel like that's who Trevor Lawrence hits, with Ridley taking a lot of the pressure away from Kirk right off the back. Oh man, I just feel like, yeah, it's going to be a lot of downfield hits, and also in that red zone, he's going to be open because they're looking at Ingrams, they're looking at Ridley. Zay Jones is still an option too, and then ETN. But Kirk was always that dude that just knew how to get open. So I just feel like he's going to be that guy. So I had to go with him. When it comes to tight ends, man, it's a lot of good tight ends. Most people go, really, really safe. The first week, most people probably take a Andrews, take a TJ Hawkinson, and I do not mind that. Kittle is the only one I would be like iffy on because we know he tends to block a lot for this team and they run a lot. So I would not be taking Kittle the first week. It's just, I don't know. I don't feel it that well. But Goddard, yeah, New England was a team that gave up tight ends. And I definitely feel like since Philly has so loaded on the wide receiver, they probably will still give up tight ends in this game too as well. So Goddard definitely has a spot to catch a touchdown in this game, hopefully get about 50 yards and at least 4 catches so you can get near the 15 points at least range or something like that. Higbee, yes, he's still going to be a highly targeted tight end like he was just last season. The only thing, he just did not come through even with all those targets. And I'm kind of waiting to see. This is a great matchup, though. We know Seattle gave up points to the tight end. But if you even look at Higbee, I believe he didn't come through. Like 7 points against Seattle last season. They was really bad. And I'm trying to see Seattle right here. 3 points. Like, I don't know what it was because his targets was high. Like, he had the targets, like 7 targets. That's a lot of targets for a tight end. 8 targets, got the 15, but look at 8 here, 8 points. Like, so don't really know there. Ingram is in a good situation. I could have, easily put him with Trevor Lawrence and Kirk and him. He was a pretty targeted, tight end for the red zone and things like that. Had 5 touchdowns. Had some really good games of 20s, 42s. It's crazy, man. Like, he had really good games. So I don't mind if you want to take that. Schultz, I feel like, is going to be the number 1 receiver here for this rookie quarterback in Stroud. So definitely feel like, he's going to be a really good option. He's a safe bet tight end to me. Pitts, I don't know for sure. Komet, yeah, he probably still would be the number 2, I feel like, option now to Fields. Since now he does have more, I think Moore will be first, and I think Komet will be second. But I do think Komet will probably show up more for the red zone, because I saw Moore a lot more catching deeper touchdowns and things like that. He probably will be a good red zone threat too as well, though. But Komet will probably be the dude that actually ends up catching those touchdowns. So definitely think Komet is a good play. Everett, I don't think he's the third option here. And I told y'all I'm sticking to tight ends as 1, 2, or 3 options here. So sorry I can't take Everett there. It's going to be hit and miss a lot, and his price is too high to me. Njoku, he is possibly the second option here. So I definitely think he's a good tight end to take if you want to. Freiermuth, oh man, he's definitely 2 or at least 2 or 3 for sure, option here. I think he's a good tight end. Dolchich, I believe he's at least a third, because definitely a Sutton and Judy first. And Dolchich is at least a third. 4,000 might be a little bit too steep to me. But If he comes down into these 35 range, I probably will be taking Dolchich for sure. I don't know about Jawan Johnson for sure, because I'm about to get to who I want to get to. And a Kongwu, yeah, is going to be a good tight end. Maybe not this first matchup because it's a tough matchup. But Taysom Hill, y'all. I told you my safe bet. Like I'm going to be picking him every week for sure. Like I'm so happy we finally can take him. There was definitely other tight ends probably below him. Let me just look at him real quick. That's safer bets. I heard Henry right now is out playing snaps at least for the OTAs over Jaceki. So I want to go back on that because I did think the last video I talked about Jaceki probably winning out. But right now they're saying Henry is in there more. But like I said, I don't know about Mac Jones and what to expect too much from him. Ertz was a good tight end. It sucks that he might be out though. K. Dotton, don't really know too much. Jelani Woods, don't really know too much about that. Logan Thomas, hopefully has a better season than last and maybe with like 5 targets a game or something like that. But there is a lot of weapons on Washington. But if he becomes like their red zone, go-to red zone threat first option there, then yeah, he will be worth this 3,200 for sure. Besides that, I don't really see any. I would say Noah Fant, but he is not a third option, so I probably wouldn't be taking him. But he is cheap at least, and he's on a team where there should be getting to the goal line enough where he gets opportunities at least. And that's probably about it. Yeah, so like I said, safe options. That's what I was looking at there, and I don't really see too many other safe options. Like I said, Logan Thomas probably the last one there to me. Taysom Hill's where I'm rolling with though with this lineup, and then so we go to flex, man. Or matter of fact, I'm gonna go to defense first. My safest defense, I know we have some good ones at the top here, but my safest defense right now is the Browns. What adding Zadarius Smith to the other side of Myles Garrett, who's a freaking sack machine and loves to freaking sack the quarterbacks in his division. Getting that pressure, I just feel like the Browns get that pressure. They cause Burrow to throw some picks possibly. I don't think their line is still, that amazing still. It got better as the season went on. But from the start of the season, they usually start against a rival and they usually sack a lot to Burrow. It causes him to have struggles the first games. So I'm going to go ahead and pick the Browns as my safe defense. Now we go into the flex here. Come on now. Like, it gives me 2 safe options here. Like, I can go with Eckler. I can go with Kupp. But I got to go with Kupp, y'all. I got to go with Kupp here. Like, one of the most safest receivers, like I said, because he's going to get the target. He catches most of his targets. He gets touchdowns. Every game is like they draw up plays to make sure he scores. That's one of the most safest ways to go there. Seattle has some good cornerbacks for sure, but the thing is, Kupp doesn't line up against them. So, they're out wide. They're not in the slot. And they're going to keep Kupp in the best matchup the whole game for the first game for sure. So this is what I got, man, as the first winning lineup, man. Feel like it was my way of going safe. I got a few stacks here. I got Lawrence, Kirk, no run back. We got Mostert with Mike Williams, so we got a late option there at least. We got Kupp too as well, so we're a part of 2 games late here. Most of the other games is all morning though here after that. So then we got Miles Sanders, which I already went through why I like him. That's a one-off there though. Chris Olave, a one-off here, but come on, man, like same price too is really, so it's kind of a contrarian play, but he's in a better game, I feel like, when it comes to, the specialties of what he does compared to his other receivers on his teams. It lines up well for what Tennessee is giving up. Excuse me, y'all. But yeah, for the yards that they're giving up and completion attempts and stuff like that, yeah, it's all sounds like Chris Olave having a breakout first game, especially his year 2 too. It's time for him to really show up and show out this year. So that's what I got, man, for the first week. This is what I feel like can put us in the top to win the million, or up there in the top 10s. I feel like this is a good safe lineup. If I had to switch anything for this though, I would go with, Herbert, like I said, and try to figure out what I would have to change there to get that $400 extra dollars, because I do feel like Herbert is going to be a great option to take. But it's your boy JAYSTAR, man. I hope y'all enjoyed that first look, made lineup for the first week, man. Yeah, it's to win some big money, y'all. So go ahead, y'all can put this one in if you want to, and join me on winning this money. And then, like I said, just matter of fact, if I was to switch this up, I'm just go ahead and show y'all. So basically, y'all get a second lineup here. If I was to switch this up to get that 400, I would just go ahead and take the Bucks defense. That way I have a part of that game, because I did want something a part of that game, but it's not like I didn't get a weapon here, but I'll still take a defense, possibly has a chance to pick off Kirk Cousins, maybe run back a touchdown or something like that with that. But then I would just slide in Herbert, just in case, it ends up being a Herbert just lighting them up, from Miami. And now I have a kind of full stack of that game now, with Herbert, Mike Williams, and then Mostert as a run back there. So I would switch it up that way. Everything else kind of stays the same, and I love it. But that's it, man. It's your boy JAYSTAR. I'm out. Good luck, man, on that first week. And stay tuned. Like I said, as we get closer, I'll start going through each position and giving y'all the best, the top 5 for that week 1 to me for every position, as well as defense and things like that. And also, yeah, when they come out with the slate, when they drop it for the first showdown, definitely I'll have the first lineup and the overlook on that too as well. It's your boy JAYSTAR, man. Enjoy y'all days, man. I'm out.